everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Evidence, the podcast where we dive deep into true crime cases, uncovering the facts and exploring the unanswered questions that keep us coming back for more. I'm your host, Marv, and I want to thank you for joining me today. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can find links to my PayPal and Cash App in the description. Now, let's get into today's topic.
Breaking all the patterns, facts and theories, clues and controversy. Join the journey, uncovering the mystery. This is Beyond the Evidence, where justice prevails, with Marv leading the way. Truth never fails. Now get ready for this live stream. Super chat, highlight your message. Don't fall victim to the irrelevance. Hit that like, share, subscribe to Marv's Beyond the Evidence.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Evidence. Thank you for joining me tonight. I have some very special guests and a very special case that we're going to talk about tonight out of Gary, Indiana. It's the missing persons case of Emma Baum. And I have her sister here with us and another family representative. Let me bring them on. Hello, Abby, and hello, Lorenzo. How are you?
Okay. How are you?
Good.
Thanks for having us, Marv.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I see that there's people watching. Some are chatting, some aren't. That's how YouTube world goes. But I see some of your supporters in here tonight too. So we're happy to have you. Abby, why don't you tell me who you are and how you're related to Emma?
Well, I am Emma's older sister. We do share the same father. She is, let's see, there's Anthony, Ashley, me, Candace, Jasmine, Emma, Hailey, Jaden, Paige, Jewel, Crew, Kane. So there is a lot of us.
Yes.
We might not have like the same mother, so she's my little sister. I can say that Emma is both a little sister as well as a big sister in a lot of ways. And I'm just a big sister, I guess.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here and for, talking about Emma with us. We really appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you. I'm grateful that you are helping push it out there. She was 9 months pregnant when she went missing. So we do have a little baby out there possibly, as well as, her children at home. Her son still wants to know where his mom's at. So I appreciate you pushing it a lot.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Lorenzo, can you tell us how you're affiliated with the family and what you do?
Sure. So I'm Lorenzo. I'm the owner of Team K9 NWI, dog trainer. by trait, and on our spare time, we have a search and rescue program, which is totally free for families. And at one point of time, Abby has reached out to us to help find Emma. Again, our program is absolutely free, so we dedicate our time, our resources. Everything that we do is pure-hearted. We've never asked for donations. We've never asked for anything of that sort. We just we help the families. We pray with the families. We give when we can. We could supply food when we have it. This past Christmas, we actually took Emma's children gifts, and we had Santa knock at the door, deliver the presents, and it was just amazing at a hard time for the children. So we do have we do train with the cadaver dogs. So in this region, within Lake County itself, they have 0 cadaver dogs. So if they wanted to pull any type of cadaver dogs out, they have to pull them from Porter County or bordering neighbors of Lake County. So when the family calls out on us, the family has already made a missing report case, and in some cases, they have to wait X amount of hours for them to respond as a missing person. So when we get called, we go right to work immediately. We do not have any type of red tape. We start collecting information, and then we start getting our boots and paws on the ground.
Fantastic. And there's so many organizations out there like yours. I'm so glad that we've connected. Definitely will help in any way I can on this case and any future cases. I commend you guys for getting out there right away when these families call, because like you said, the police departments have a waiting time, and in these cases you can't wait. Every second counts.
Right.
Yeah, I think from the phone call to arrival point, maybe an hour tops. They came. Everybody was already together. We did everything that we could to help them. We got clothes without touching them so they could go in a bag with the dog, and just straight out there willing to help. And it was actually super awesome and amazing. To be on the safe side, I did call the 911 non-emergency number and let them be aware that we were talking to NWI and that they were going to help us, because at that point we didn't hear anything from anybody. And it was nice to know that it wasn't just a hopeless mission. I can say that it was really nice. So,
and with the police, like I said, there's a waiting time for missing persons. I hate that waiting time. I wish they would just come out and investigate every missing person as if it, and I don't mean anything to say by this, but I wish they would investigate it as a homicide right away, because there's things that they miss by having that waiting time, and then things get destroyed.
Proactive, not reactive.
Yeah. So we know exactly what the family is going through, because back in 2014, it happened to us where our son, this is how we got involved with this. Back in 2014, our oldest son, Michael Hernandez, he went missing for 41 days. And longer story short, he was inside a retention pond inside of his vehicle, and he was submerged underwater for 41 days. So during that 41 days, we had massive searches. We had no idea who to turn to, but all of a sudden we had thousands of volunteers, at our side. We had close family and friends at our side, helping us get through these tough times in our life. So what it is we do now is giving back to what was given to us, nearly 10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how this starts. These organizations like you have started, it starts personal.
Correct.
And like I said earlier, we talked, and I'm so sorry for what happened to your son, but I commend you for doing this and from learning from it and helping so many others.
Right. Yeah. So it hasn't always been sunshine and rainbows, but every family that calls out on us, we take it personal.
Exactly. And Nina and I talked, and I talked with you too, and how can you not take it personally? like I said, every family I come in contact with, I become protective over them. Um, and I told you, there's no family bashing here. There's no victim bashing here. I won't allow it.
Right.
And so everybody that comes in here that knows this channel knows that.
Good.
And anybody who may be new to the channel, if you come in here, you learn it real quick. So, Abby, let's start with talking about Emma and what she was like as a, I guess as even as a child, teenager. Because how old is she?
She will be 26 on the 22nd of this month.
Okay.
So, Emma, very outgoing, beautiful girl, very protective like, but at the same time, everyone's got their little bit of a wild side, of course, but any way to stay connected with the family, always liked to move and do things, very outgoing, loved her kids. Her son, I know she would do whatever it took to make sure he had what he needed. And I mean, anything. It did not matter. She would do whatever it took to make sure she could provide for her son. She, just like any other person, everybody has to live and grow. So she did have a couple times in her life, where we're like, what are you doing? But
Yep.
that's supposed to be expected. She lived, she loved everybody. She wanted to help, all of our sisters. She was a go-getter. She, she loved sunflowers. She loved, dancing. She loved talking to people. She was awesome. She is awesome,
She is awesome.
and really she would, excuse my language, but if you came up to one of any of us and had a problem, she'd be the first one in your face telling you to go suck it. And she would have your back every which direction. She wouldn't let anyone sit there and talk crap to us. And I know that if any of us went missing for real, she would do whatever it takes, from knocking on doors, going places she knows she shouldn't, causing an issue, causing a scene. She definitely had a opinion always, and she was not afraid to share it. And it made her a person either you really, really liked, I guess, or you really, really didn't like sometimes, but she was her. And just like anybody else, she was trying to find her spot. And it's hard, especially when you are living and you grow up in an area where it's not always the best area. So live, learn, try to break cycles, get new places, get a new job. Every time she had a job, she'd glow. She was she is a very beautiful person.
She
So
is.
you definitely want to have her on your team, and you don't really want to go against her, but she was someone, and she is someone that everyone would love. She's full of energy. She'll be the first one to hold your hand to try something new. She liked to do her hair, tattoos, motorcycles. She was a go-getter. She is a go-getter.
I'm showing some pictures here, and we're seeing a lot of different hairstyles, hair colors. So did I hear that she liked wigs?
Yeah, she liked her pieces. She is a girly girl. She also can wear her hair up. She can look very cute in a dress, and then she's got that sweatpants swag down like no other. So anything that she could do to doll herself up, or just make herself feel good about herself, and that was kind of awesome. I know if I needed my hair straightened, I could go be like, hey, will you do this? And she would give us but she would sit down, and she would do it. She made time for any of us if we called her. We did the baby shower, and she was so like, everyone's gonna think I'm just big. And that day she was just so cute. She had the cute little cheeks all red and growing. She didn't want any pictures, but she sat there and, you know, she came to my baby shower. This last baby, she asked for clothes. She asked us to get stuff ready. Like, she was preparing for the baby prior to her disappearance. So it's odd to, you know, ask everybody to get ready for this baby to arrive and then not want any of the stuff, or, you know.
Right.
But
So she was definitely, I love the different hairstyles. It just cracks me up. But in a case like this, it makes it kind of difficult too. And Lorenzo, I'm sure you're familiar with this, because each hair color and style kind of changes the shape of her face and how she looks. So showing all these pictures and saying this is this, you have to look for this person, but she may look like this, or this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, can be
it does make it really
She looks like the true American girl.
right, in all of them. That's the worst part, you know. So, yeah, beautiful girl. So, how many children did she have?
She had 3 children prior to her pregnancy.
Okay.
They are staying, 2 are staying with their, I don't know if I should actually talk about where they're staying, but 2 of them are together and safe, and her son is definitely still with our side of the family, and we keep him very close because he only knows us, like grandma and grandpa and all the sisters. My little sister Paige has taken on the responsibility to help with her oldest son, which is very commendable.
Yes.
Paige doesn't have any actual children of her own, so I have a lot of love and respect for her for doing such, trying to keep some sort of normalcy and, you know, way of consistent life going is important, especially for a child.
Right.
But they are all pretty close in age, and they definitely do look like her. So that's awesome.
So she wasn't actually living in Gary, Indiana, though, correct?
Correct. She was living with her mother in Portage, and she, as the entire world already knows, and I did bring it to light, not to bash my sister, but because, like you said, once it gets out there, everybody and their mom wants to know something sometimes, and she was in jail for a while. She got out of jail and was trying to get back in the swing of things and get ready to have a baby, and then was gone. But her boyfriend, or the kid's dad, lived in Gary, Indiana. So when she went out there to see him, she hadn't been out there for kind of a long while since she was staying at the jail.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, maybe she thought going back would just, everything would be as it was, or I'm not quite sure. I'm surprised being that pregnant. My sister was actually built very little. So I can't really imagine her trying to waddle down any house like that pregnant.
I was in Indiana just this past week, and on the way home, I drove through Gary, Indiana, in that area. There are a lot of potholes. I don't think there's a flat surface to walk on. Very, very rough housing, lots of boarded up houses, burnt down houses, things like that. So, like you said, I couldn't see her walking down the roads being 9 months pregnant
and dilated
to 1 centimeter. That would have been really tough. So, what date did this all happen, and what date, and who took her to Gary?
She asked my sister Jaden, and my sister Jewel went with, because none of us like to actually go anywhere by ourselves. Being in a big family, we have always, I wouldn't say depended on another person, but we're used to being around people. So,
Right.
and since she did not have a car, she asked my sister Jaden. She was already going out there to pick up her kid's dad, like Jaden's baby's dad. And it wasn't a problem. She just had to wait until she got off of work. She got off work, came in, got everything situated, and they went straight out there. My sister Jewel rode along with, dropped her off at the stop sign facing the house. So here's the side road. Right here, they watched her physically go into the home, and no one's seen or heard from her since. She had sent a message to her boyfriend, I believe it was 5:32 or 5:34 p.m., saying that she had arrived at the house. And that's it. From that point on, nobody that is used to seeing her or used to hearing from her, or in the family, from grandma to all of our aunts, uncles, sisters, brothers, family, friends, all of it, anybody that we associate with all the time, she's just gone.
And what was the date?
October 10th was when
October
she was
10th.
dropped off. And that was the last message that we physically seen of some sort of proof of life.
Okay, so October 10th. So this must have been, you said after 5:30 she texted him, said, I have a ride.
Yes.
So 6:30, 7 o'clock when she arrived there?
Oh no, she arrived there. The last message that said she was there was at 5:32 or 5:34 p.m. It's off by 2 minutes. I always have I don't want to be like, but those 2 minutes could mean a lot,
It could. Okay, so she was there by 5:30. She was there.
Yes.
Somebody got a text. How did you find out that she hadn't been seen?
Well, my sister Paige has been with Camden, and she said that she can't get a hold of Emma. She actually tried to call and talk to Antoine, which is the boyfriend, and say, hey, can you please tell Emma to call her kid already? She said she was going to be back, and she hasn't. Well, he ended up talking to Paige and was yelling at her and gave my little sister kind of like an anxiety attack, like she was doing something wrong, by asking that. He said to me that she got into a car and had said that one of our sisters picked her up, but he doesn't know which one, and he can't tell us what the car looks like. He told Jamie something completely different. So all we know is when we're like, hey, your kid wants you, someone call us already, you're supposed to be back, there's no definite answer of where she went or what happened.
Okay, so what day does he say she left?
The next day.
The very next day. Okay.
Yes, that he woke up and she was gone. He doesn't know. And I'm not blaming him, because realistically, my sister is her own person. What happens if, like, she thought she was going into labor, or she tried to wake him up and he didn't wake up, or, you know what I mean? She went outside because she got some of those hot flashes. Every woman here knows what those are like.
Yes.
I do know that he did say he was with her, and that's a fact. He stated that he doesn't know where she went from that point on, which is a fact. So he can't say that he had nothing to do with her, or he tried to tell somebody. I know personally that him and my sister weren't even together like that or whatever. I don't know if he was trying to get all Mac Daddy on my friend or not, but that she's definitely not the one to be, trying to get with them bad boys from the jail cell,
Right.
So.
Okay, so and she didn't have a phone herself at that time, correct?
Correct. She was using, well, she had a phone. She was using Wi-Fi. Like I said, she did have a stay elsewhere for a while, which she had plenty of time to decide what she wanted to do with her life and, think about some other things and try to make some sort of plan. She was released to have this baby. She did try to get sent directly to a rehab. There is a rehab that allows kids to go with you if you come in already sober. And actually, she has all these papers talking about it. I'm surprised that she was released due to the intensity of how she was trying just to go there. So there was no issue and there was no problems, or there wasn't a chance of making a mistake. And she was supposed to, and for whatever reason, they released her and did not pick her up instead, like they were supposed to. So she didn't have, money stashed away. She gives
Right.
everything to her babies. So she never got a phone card, never got an active phone. You think every day, like, oh, I'll just connect to Wi-Fi and everything's going to be okay.
Right.
She was supposed to get one, but that has not happened yet, or didn't happen.
Right. And Lorenzo, maybe this is where you can come in, and Abby too. So you're calling and you're trying to get a hold of her so she can speak to her son. He's telling you she left the very next day. What happens after that? Do you go straight to the police because she's 9 months pregnant?
Well, the police at first didn't want to take the initial report. Gary, Indiana, for whatever reason, seems to run on its own system. I'm not quite sure. I thought it was a part of Indiana State, which is a part of the United States. And I know every state is allowed to do their own thing to a certain degree, but they have to follow a federal rule and law and all of the extra crap that goes along with it. But when Indiana law says when someone comes in, the reports are supposed to be done immediately. And those reports turn around and give everybody the knowledge that they need to succeed or be aware, or some sort of, hey, we might have a problem. And because the baby never took a physical breath at this current time, that's proven, the baby more or less does not exist to Gary, Indiana, which is making it extra crappy in a lot of ways.
Yep.
But her mom tried to get a hold of them, call all of the hospitals, the friends. We looked on, my case just to see maybe she went to a different county to get in trouble and went to a jail out there. Nothing. Called the jails. Nothing. Facebook. And then eventually we all gathered at our grandmother's house and said, okay, this is a real problem. And she was supposed to have this baby, like she's dilated, she could be out there. We got all of these ransom messages and ransom calls telling us that if we ever wanted to see her or the baby again, that we needed to pay large sums of money. So you can call me what you want, but I called the FBI because I don't have $20, $30, $40, $50,000 just laying around. And on top of that, if someone's threatening my sister's livelihood, and I know none of us can help provide what they're asking for, like, you need to tell somebody that can actually cross lines and decides, the minimum. So we called the FBI and tried to get a hold of the detective. They don't really look at it. They say, oh, she's an adult. She'll come home. Maybe she doesn't want to be around you. Or my favorite, this is sarcasm, sorry. My favorite is when the officer told me that she's a known drug user and that, what do I expect? Like, just sickening in a lot of ways.
Yeah, exactly.
we've all had our ups and downs in lives and all tried to fit in at one point or got caught up in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong people. You know, it made it very difficult when there was judgment passed prior to taking the time to talk to us. The detective refused to meet in person. So when we gathered at my grandma's, we ended up calling NWI. I called the 911 emergency line and let them know. And we got out there and started looking. Walked from the drop-off location and up and down, passed out flyers, put out flyers consistently. Large family, it was easy to spread out in different areas. Gary's surrounded by a lot of towns that we know. If you've been, if you lived in Lake Station, you've been to Gary. If you live in Lake Station, you've been to Portage. Same with Miller and all the surrounding areas. Got posters, talked to strangers, like had the dogs out there trying to see if anything.
So you said you were getting hostage letters. Was this before or after Lorenzo and his group went out and put flyers out?
Actually, we had called TT, which is on the team. It's the co-owner, his wife, and she got to sit there and physically hear what was being said, and we had to take it because they sent it in Spanish. So I'm over here trying to translate it through Google, which was terrible because they said that they wanted $5, and I was like, well, I got $5 for you. What's up? All day long, they did give us a way to send it, where to send it. I'm surprised that nobody's actually asked me for any of the information or tried to reach out. I can honestly say it's been real surprising because with missing people, adults, if they don't want to get up and do anything, they just don't. And it's kind of scary how quick they'll be like, oh, I seen somebody that looked like her. In fact, we had an incident where an officer said that they seen Emma at the McDonald's off of Grant Street, right, Lorenzo? Yep. I think it was Grant. Yep. That he ended up taking her off the missing persons paper, okay? And then after we were like, well, are you sure? We had to be kind of crappy. We had to have it proven. And when they went back on the cameras, this officer yelled out the window, more or less, to some girl crossing the street. And because she turned her head and had a similar haircut, that he closed out the case. Never got identification, never got confirmation, nothing. And
she looked similar.
And that is how we know for a fact that the Indiana State missing persons list is updated on a regular basis because she was off of it on Friday, and by Monday, she was right back on it.
See, it's things like that that anger me. Hearing the families having to go through stuff like this, because it's not the first time I've heard of police doing stupid things, okay? Well, I know they're overwhelmed. I know they're overwhelmed. They've got lots of missing person cases. Gary is in that area where so many different things can happen with trafficking and everything else, okay? It's not a good area to live in. You can tell by the houses and the businesses that are there. I was probably there for 5 minutes. I can tell you that. In and out. Quickly.
You're driving very fast.
Yeah.
Which is actually very sad because Gary, Indiana used to be a beautiful place. They had individuals that, cared about their homes. If you look at some of the homes, they're gorgeous. They had work coming in. I don't know how it just turned into such a almost abandoned ghost town overnight.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly not overnight. It's been consistent, but
in the 50s it was beautiful. 50s and 60s it was beautiful.
Well, you think Michael Jackson's hometown, there's signs to go see his house. I would have loved to went seeing it, but after being there, I'm like, nope. We're gonna do this, try to find a bathroom and get out. And we actually didn't even find a bathroom there. We just got out and went down the road about 15, 20 miles and stopped and went there. But
Right.
yeah, and just garbage everywhere. It's nothing like I had ever seen. And I mean, I've seen some pretty bad places, reservations, things like that.
It's like a third world country.
Yes. Yes. And it's sad to see that that's how and where people are living, and then to know that that's where Emma was and just disappeared.
Right.
And I'll tell you, my sister had a good heart. If she cared about you as a person or had hope, to get to know you, she would. It didn't matter. We grew up right there in that area our whole lives. So with that being like, it's normal. It's hard to believe
Right.
that like in such a little amount of time, you're right. There's so much garbage. There's people sleeping outside. There's, to a certain degree, even, because honestly, you don't really see that often either. There's so many abandoned homes. There's just, it's scary, actually.
I'll tell you what, when I first went into that area, I thought to myself, was there a major fire here? And the greenery has just the grass and everything has grown back, but it affected all these houses. And then you really start looking and you realize, no, it's just abandoned house after abandoned house, broken windows, boarded up.
Right.
And then other houses are just have been on fire, and you could totally see that. So imagine for you, Lorenzo, searching in these areas is very difficult.
Oh, it definitely is. I mean, it's a huge hazard from as little things of catching a bed bug,
Yeah.
to stepping on a needle or stepping on a rusted nail. Like it's very dangerous. Not including the people that live inside those abandoned houses, which that's their place of residence. So we have no idea what's around the corner. That's why we train twice a week, for 2.5 hours each week for situations like those things. So we understand that Gary is short staffed, but when they have a good, solid hearted team out there to try to make a difference, to try to help them, we would like their support as well,
Right.
but it's not that case.
And honestly, I think a lot of the problems is we've tried to communicate. I know there has been communication. Lake Station got a tip in the middle of the night. I called them and said, hey, there is this thing on the internet saying that Emma is in Lake Station on Meet Me. I need you guys to please find a reference point. I live far away. I can't be there within a timely fashion. I need you to find a reference point, and it should go all the way down to a 0. And that 0 should be exactly where the phone is that says my sister is on it right now. And it was unfortunately in the middle of a lake. So it was hard to, kind of worrisome, because then you got to call the 911 operator, and then they're over here like, well, we can't just call an officer to nothing, or
Right.
wait till the detective is on duty on Monday because it was a weekend. And for whatever reason, a lot of people in that field don't work the weekends, so that made it difficult. And then they went out there, realized it's in the middle of the lake. Lake Station police were super helpful. They were kind.
Extremely
They heard what we
helpful.
said. They communicated. They took the steps that they needed to try to have a better, outcome. Unlike we've been into Gary, if you go towards the casino side, they tell you that they don't even know who Emma Baum is. If you go over here, you have people that say that, oh, you haven't found her yet. Or we have people that don't file their reports correctly. And I know that due to multiple statements. We can't get a silver alert out there. We can't. We have a petition. There's plenty of signatures. I don't understand. If you are telling me that she's just a missing person, we should be able to. You say that we didn't do it fast enough, but how are we supposed to do something if you refuse to do it? There's that a lot of lack of care. I've tried to get anyone under the sun to pay attention, give these officers more money. We told the judge, like, regardless, she needs a warrant, because the next officer that says, oh, I seen her out the window, ha ha ha, and doesn't actually say, hey, are you okay? Or make sure
Right.
that if she didn't look pregnant, she's not trying to find her child. Some sort of, people don't care. It is a third world country. It's like they're disconnected from any sort of real humane way of living, except the people that live there, which is sad and crazy to say. We've met multiple people out there that will wave, that will say, stop and ask what we're doing or who we're looking for. Women at the gas stations, like, I will let everybody know. Like, the actual residents don't deserve what they're getting, and that's for sure.
Right. Well, and like you said, it's hard because you go to one side and they don't know who you're talking about, but right there in the area, everybody knows and doesn't want to say anything, usually, as far as tips and help and what they saw and everything or heard. And then you go to the right, and half of them heard about it. Others thought, oh, I thought she was already found. So we stopped spreading the word, and so that's why it's important to keep doing this and getting Emma's face out there and her story out there, so people know she is still missing. She's not the only one missing in this situation either. There is a baby somewhere.
Yes,
with her or not with her. So you're actually looking for two people, but under the law, because she hadn't had the baby, you're just looking for Emma. And that's why you're not able to get any alerts for the baby yet.
And it makes it very difficult because at this point
Correct.
we're looking at maybe
Which I think
baby.
I think every missing person should be able to receive some type of alert, whether it's a silver or amber alert,
Yep.
to make things a whole lot faster. But unfortunately, there's all that red tape. It's
Well,
it's
not
sad.
only that, it should be a right at this point. Those alerts are designed to help with communication, and that communication provides other areas, people, and places what they need to help the community and each other, as well as succeed to bigger and better things. If we can't say we're connected in, something simple like, hey, just so you know, this family is looking for this person in the next town over. If the next town doesn't know, they're not going to be looking. I'm not going to say they don't care, but there's nothing that says, hey, this is this person. And at this point, with how big the family is and how many of us are consistently saying, where is Emma? Like, she hasn't been there for Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's Eve. Like, her birthday's on the 22nd. Where's Emma? Where's her baby? Where's she at? And it's just thrown out like it's nothing. And there is a lot of us, and that really was kind of an eye-opener, because an adult or not, if you have a close, tight family that has been consistently around each other, or, calls someone like, hey, I don't have a cigarette, walk 3 blocks down and bring me one, please. You're going to be like, what is wrong with you? But you're going to do it. So we have some sort of like understanding or dependency on each other. And if we leave, we're leaving, because normally you get an FU on the way out, like there's no question. She wouldn't just say, I'll be back tomorrow, and not say anything. or not come around, or
Contact somebody.
like
Right.
our grandma's been in and out of the hospital. She broke her arm. Like, we want to know she's okay, and everyone is worried. It's hard to function on a regular basis, and to know that even if I'm out there searching, that if I do find somebody, it could not even be her. That's how many missing people there are out there.
Yes.
And I wouldn't say it makes you almost hopeless, but it's like it hurts in a different way, because even if we got close, are we even close, and then we have to follow rules and regulations, like, private property, and we can't do this and we can't do that, and we can't be a disturbance. But at the same time, if you call it in and it doesn't go the way it should go, then we're just terrible people messing up, and it makes it really hard to look for. It does.
And the worst part of all of it is that it falls on the families. And that's where Lorenzo's group comes in. He knows how to start the search, what to do, what resources to use, and guides the families.
Well, it doesn't only fall on the families, it falls on us too, because you
Right.
have your official search and rescue groups out there that are only called upon law enforcement. So when the search and rescue official groups see that we're out there, then it falls on us too. So
Right.
so then we get bashed for potentially, messing up evidence. But people that find people are usually people just walking or out fishing, looking for antlers. So what we're doing is a little step forward. So we are all FEMA certified. We're taking those steps to become a better unit.
Right.
So the backlash doesn't always fall on the family too. It falls on us too, because we're trying to do a good thing. So when you're trying to do a good thing, for the community, you get the backlash as well. But
No, I meant as far as a missing person.
yeah,
The police don't want to do things right away, so it falls on the family to start
Correct.
the process, and then it falls on you guys because you step in and you
Right.
help guide the families. Okay,
Right.
we need to do this, we need to do that. We'll start here, we'll go there, and then yes, or it's unfortunate that organizations like yourself get threats,
Yeah.
get put down all the time, say you're in the way, you're messing things up, yet they're not doing anything.
Correct. So again, when Abby and the family called out on us, no questions asked. This is a human being. This is a soul. This is a person in a family that needs help. So we went out immediately.
Right.
So the police have not yet found her. Yet we have not found her, and we don't know what the police are doing, or have done, or hasn't done. But from the interaction that we have had with them, it doesn't look like they're doing much. I mean, this right here could have been solved, back on October 11th of last year, if they would have just. I mean, she was using Wi-Fi off her phone. The Wi-Fi is a digital fingerprint.
Right.
If they would have just went back to that moment in time, okay, let's narrow it down.
Right.
It would have been solved a long time ago.
Or
Right.
talk to the right people, or like try to get out there and search, or ask for email addresses, possible phone number, ask questions. That's a big one. Like, how are you going to know anything if you don't ask any questions? Like,
Right. So we are not anti-police. We're just anti-crooked police.
Yeah. I'm right there with you.
Right. So we love the police and what they do. They we're just against the bad ones and the lazy ones, and the ones that have huge egos.
Yes.
yes,
So-
are the ones that can be paid off.
Right.
So,
Because-
go ahead.
I believe that at some point, sometime, not in this particular case, but there are, those elected officials or paid officials or public servants involved with cases like this, whether it's sex trafficking, whether it's murder cover-up. So there's always those ones that need to get weeded out.
If you go on the IRS website, you can actually look at a list of busts that they have done. In fact, in history, a lot of the big time people that did get caught up that had some sort of power or title, someone at the IRS was like, hey, this doesn't match up. And from FBI agents to Homeland Security, and this is not me just talking out of my
No, I
butt.
get it.
You can look it up and you would be surprised the intensity of how deep some of the corruption does go. And it has to be the people that we trust and we rely on to make our community better. And it's scary because I've been saying there's a whole baby out there somewhere and they won't
Right.
even acknowledge it. Why? Why? In fact, Lake County Jail paid for 95% of her health care when she was there staying in the jail.
Right.
Like, she found out she was pregnant. She did all of her prenatals, everything there. They gave her a specialized meal. How is it that we're just going to pretend this child is non-existent? And when I say this is no longer a fetus, this baby could live outside of the womb completely.
Yes.
No ifs, ands, or buts. 9 months, 1 centimeter dilated, healthy, happy, cute cheeked Emma getting ready to pop out this baby, and nothing, just because she had some sort of past or a history or isn't what everybody thinks she should be on paper doesn't mean that she wasn't loved or cared about, or that she's not worthy of the tax money that we pay on a continuous basis for, by the way, for these officers to help or say, hey, or at least give us the decency of having a meeting in person. And
exactly.
And those are the officers that are going to make sure the right people are where they need to be. And at this point, that trust for sure is gone with our family. Even if they called us right now and said, hey, like, it's going to take some sort of seeing. And then, by the time it's all said and done, I've already found the paperwork to fill out that says that Indiana State is to take over and re-examine what is necessary if there ever does come to a body, because I need to know that it is done correctly. Right. I need to. Her kids need to. Our family needs to. We need to know that someone took the time to actually care the way that they should about my sister, and hopefully she is not gone. I still pray that one day if she was kidnapped or snatched up and she is spicy enough to find her way out, and she is smart, she's and that day, so help me, you better hope you aren't in my way.
Exactly. Exactly. And I don't care what kind of past a person has had. They don't deserve to go missing. They don't deserve to get taken. Their lives don't deserve to be taken from them. This is a life, and lives matter. I always say my closing for my show is justice matters, but in this case, lives matter.
Yes.
And each and every person who has gone missing deserves to have individuals who are trained, such as law enforcement, anybody else, searching for them and investigating and doing it correctly, and not putting it off and just saying, well, she did this or she did that or he did this and he did that. It doesn't matter what they did.
Correct.
They're still missing. They still deserve to be found. They are a person. And in her case, she's beautiful. You could tell she's spunky and feisty with the different wigs that she wore, and the different looks that she had. And I have to laugh because you said she thought, oh my God, I'm so big at this point. I can tell you I was bigger than her. My sister was convinced I was having twins with my first daughter. No, you're just pregnant and you're 9 months pregnant. You're getting ready to deliver and you're beautiful. You know, they have that glow, and we just want to do everything we can to get the word out on Emma. So I'm going to be putting her missing person flyer in our Discord. I'm going to be putting it on the Facebook group, my personal site, in the community page. So anybody here who is listening can go to any of those areas and get a copy and share it, and keep sharing it. Share it
Yes.
with everybody, every person you know that lives in Gary, Indiana, and around the surrounding areas. Because, like Abby said, there's still people in surrounding areas that don't know she's missing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know she's missing, you can't help if you know something.
And I really do appreciate you. If we could just keep pushing until we have physical Emma, or physically her voice calling us. At this point, it's got to be like a voice and video chat, because I don't think any of us are going to believe it if there's not a physical, some sort of proof of life, or somebody with, I guess, the correct paperwork. And we're not going to stop. There is no stopping. If you love somebody, if you care about somebody, it doesn't just go away in 5 or 6 months. You can't grief us out, more or less. You can't, like, she is never going to be forgotten.
No.
She deserved to have her chance. She deserved to follow her dreams. She was still technically just a baby. Like, she's just she's gonna be 26 and only a few days, or like a week or something. And it hurts to know that as of this moment, she is missing out on so much, and her kids, and we're all really worried, to a point where it affects us on an everyday basis. It's not, and so we can feel it. Something's wrong.
Right.
And without people like you and Lorenzo and others, there's no hope to have what we need to just, if she's out there, you know, I'm not saying we have to drag her back by her ear, but we need to know that she's alive at this point. Her kids deserve it. That innocent child she was carrying doesn't deserve to be with a family that's not going to tell them about her mother and their mother, his mother. It's rough. And I know we are not the only family out there. There is Janaya, little girl. She's from the same area. Your Nana loves you and misses you. Lisa, your mom and friend have been searching for you on a regular basis. Like, people are missing on a regular basis. And if it isn't for people like you guys, no one would know. And that sucks. And it hurts. And you're appreciated. And I just had to make sure, thank you.
You're welcome. And for us, for me, it's frustrating because I open my Facebook feed and it's missing after missing after missing after missing after missing. And there's not enough hours in the day to share them all.
Yes. And it's sad and scary.
Yes, and it is. And so you try to network with different people like Lorenzo's group and other missing groups and say, okay, you take these and I'll take these, and we'll just share as many out as we can. Or you share just every single one you come up on for a 10-minute period and hope that somebody else does the next bunch. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
There's a lot. There's definitely a lot. And, something like Emma, Lisa Wright, James Allen Jr., Janiyah McMichael, these names of these people will not go void. They will not, until we have proof that they have been found or recovered, we will continue to do our searches. You know,
Yes.
so again, back in 2014, it was our biggest struggle in our life, but now it's one of our strengths on helping other people that call out on us.
And the families deserve an answer one way or another.
Correct.
Her children deserve to know what happened to mom.
I'd be okay if she just like flicked me off at this point and told me never to talk to her again. That'd be enough for me at this, you know, like
something that says, hey, I'm still here. I just don't want anything to do with you guys right now.
Yeah, go fuck yourselves.
Yeah. Flip you off and walk off. At least you know she's here.
And see, and that's one thing I don't think anyone actually gets when we say she's spunky. She is that type of person.
Right.
She would be the one to tell us that we're messing up and, you know, we're not doing this today. We're not doing this week. I'm never talking to you again. It would happen. And that it hasn't. You know, no calling and being like, yo, give me $20, please. What up? Or no little, hey, I just seen this and I thought of you. Or, hey, I don't have a dress. Bring me one. You know, none of that. And they did say they tried to ping her phone. Like I said, the biggest problem that we had is she did stay at the jail. She got out and trying to do that readjustment stuff. We did find a lot of facts out in between, which makes it very difficult because, you know, we can't screw up the case. We can't do this. We can't do that. But we have to do this. And if we don't do anything, nothing happens. And it's becoming very difficult because at this point, this far along, I have to remember, just like I said in the very beginning, if you don't hear nothing back from somebody for months and months and months and months and months, then they're not going to be calling you anytime soon. So how long does it take for it to be justified and okay for me saying, hey, I think this needs to be acknowledged, or this needs brought to light, or this little problem needs addressed? And unfortunately, there is way more to my sister's case that our family has found. And it is one of those twattering things that, you know, we don't want to do anything wrong. But at the same time, I have to follow my own advice. At some point, sometime, she's going to show up. And we're going to do whatever it takes to figure that out.
Right.
Yes,
and it's just hard.
No, it is because, like you said in the beginning, you're talking to different people, you're asking for tips, you're asking for help. So you are getting information, and you have to vet that information very carefully to make sure that what you're being told it's the truth and everything like that. Okay. There's some situations that you just can't blurt out to everybody right away. Right.
Correct.
So you have to keep things to yourself and just go with what you can give the audience. Okay. We know that she was in jail. She got out. She was trying to, you know, acclimate again to being out of jail. She wanted to go to her boyfriend's in Gary, Indiana.
To figure out plans about the child that was getting ready to fall out, by the way.
And two of your sisters took her there, dropped her off, watched her walk into the house. The next thing you know, you haven't heard from her. She hasn't called to check in with the kids or with any of you. So you're calling him, asking him, where is she? And he's telling you she left with one of her sisters.
So some girl, one of his sisters,
sister or whatever, that she just left and she's never seen again. I have an issue with that.
Yeah. You know? I'd like to know the detail of the car. I would like to know the last thing maybe that was said to her. Maybe some sort of, you know, did you guys get into an actual fight? Did you get, you know, some sort of anything at all to help kind of push us in the right direction, but yet we got 3 different stories of something but nothing. And
it doesn't help when you get 3 different stories. So you're thinking, this person is gaslighting me. They're not telling me the truth because I've gotten 3 different stories now. What is the truth? What does he know? What isn't he telling us? That type of thing. We're not saying he's guilty of anything.
no,
But we are saying that he is not sharing all of the knowledge and information that he has about where Emma went.
I 100% can agree with that. 100%. I don't feel like anyone should be charged for something that they did not do. I don't feel like we should just sit there and blame. Anything is possible. If anything off the wall has happened, I'm the one that will believe you, because everything that can go wrong sometimes just does. But deep down, something's wrong.
Right. And unfortunately, it starts with that house, the individuals that were in that house, because that is the last place that she was physically seen at.
Yes. Everybody that's watching, I would say just keep sharing as far out every which direction as possible. As we just need to know if she is okay. As of right now, there is no physical Emma. There is no physical proof on paper at all. There is no physical DNA test at this moment in time. There is nothing for sure that says she has been found. Please don't stop looking. Please don't give up. Please don't just be like, oh, okay, and believe what anybody says. If you don't hear it out of, one of the family members' mouth, or the designated team that was even put on record on paper, which is NWI, then don't just believe it.
Right.
People are quick to jump to whatever it is that makes them get whatever weird satisfaction that they have out of, sharing these stories, which is also hard because you have so many people coming from every different direction trying to tell you what they know, but 95% of them don't know, or I don't know if they want to feel cool, but someone did make a statement that is an independent searcher to my sister Hailey, that one of their family members was at the location where my sister was last and gave us a different location. And my problem is, if you are searching for missing people and you had a family member at a house that knows exactly where my missing sister is, what do you mean? Which is also very scary. By law, I filed an adult welfare check. There's no way around it. It does not matter if she is an adult. Someone has to tell us if she is found safe or alive walking away. She doesn't have to acknowledge our existence. Fine. But there are laws and regulations that are not being followed that need to be.
Yep.
It's been a real eye-opener, I guess. Right? We found out a 2-month-old baby ran away from home. If you look at the missing persons list in the state of Indiana, especially in that area, that list was offsetted to get people off of their butts, I guess would be the nicest way to say it. And I also find that unacceptable. We asked for help. You don't want to help us, fine. But if you can't take your job serious, or you're going to lie to the entire world and says, that's not updated on a regular basis, that's not true. Just care about these people. These are, no matter what you do or where you've been or how you live your life, we're American citizens right here. You know what I mean? Like, care about the people here.
Yeah.
Please. And Emma deserves that. Her kids deserve it. My family deserves it. My grandma deserves it. With everything that she has done for all of the kids from point A to point B, she doesn't deserve to sit there and wonder in her condition. Her mother deserves to know. Our dad fought for this country. He deserves to know.
Right.
Like, it makes it very, I don't want my kids to grow up in a world where nobody cares.
Right.
You know? So it's,
To the audience that's watching now or will watch, we don't know what the family's going through until you've actually gone through it. So, not to say that it could happen to you, but at the same time, it could happen to you, where you're actually you're looking for a missing nephew or niece or grandfather or grandmother or father or mother. So, we need to be people again. We need to get back to that,
Yes.
that honor code where we have morals and values, and just to love on one another as people. This is a relationship world. This world is based off of relationships.
Yes, exactly. And we used to be good at that, and that's fallen away, and it's so sad that it has. And I hope and pray that it can come back to that instead of all the ugliness and the hate and
Mm-hmm.
that's been going on.
yeah, I feel like at this point there's, as a family, we get all of those tips and all of those things and all of these people's thoughts and opinions about all of these things that include us or my sisters, or, just because we might not be living a life that you find acceptable or you think is normal, it doesn't mean it's wrong. That makes you, the minute that you just close down and say, this is the only way that it is, then you stop growing. Emma is still growing. She's still becoming the individual that she's going to be as a whole, and even then she's still growing. We have to learn from our mistakes, and we have to say, hey, we've all made them. So if you were quick to judge my sister, our family, I'm sorry that you're going through whatever you're going through, but she doesn't just deserve to be forgotten, and there's no excuse whatsoever, 100% no excuse for the innocent child that she had
Yes.
in her tummy, as well as her kids that have done nothing wrong at all. At this point in their lives, they've done nothing wrong. So there is no excuse to judge so quickly, and there is no excuse just to turn your eye. And it sucks because we want to do these big searches, and we do want to do like where we have the whole community, but due to the fact with Emma's case specifically right now, she was such an outgoing person, and there's so many people that loved her that it's kind of scary to think, where was she, who's she with, if she wasn't with the boyfriend,
Mm-hmm.
and having all of these people together as one could not necessarily be a good thing, and it sucks because we could definitely use the manpower, but we don't know if it's not Antoine, because everyone's proven innocent until proven guilty. If it is not him, that one person or maybe the group of possible people that he hung out with per se, we don't know what they look like or where they are or who they are, and that's sickening to think that someone that could have harmed my sister and her child could walk up and give me a hug and give me their false condolences, and then we go into a house and then, you know what I mean, anything is possible. So it's risky. It's very dangerous in general, let alone the area. If the cops don't want to go inside these buildings, that should tell you something.
Yeah.
And that is the entire place, unfortunately. So to anybody out there wondering why the police were actually supposed to be the ones to say, hey, we're doing this big search. Everybody in the community, let's come together and make this happen. And they have not done it, which gives us an uneasy feeling as well, asking all these people to come out there. You could get robbed. You could get shot. You could,
Right.
what if they get kidnapped. We see there was a group of girls the other day when we were out there, and younger, walking, giggling, walking.
16 years old, oldest probably maybe 17.
Oh, wow.
Yell out there, excuse me, as nice as possible without being too hey, and they turned, and two of the girls said that they weren't from the area. And I'm not gonna lie, it took everything in my power not to be like, go the home. What is wrong with you? There's too many missing people. If you're not from this area, then you need to be super aware. I did let them know that there's a lot of missing people in this general area and that we are looking for my sister Emma. They said that a girl had lived out there, their friend, one of the girls who didn't actually want to talk to me at all, kind of odd, lived there, and that they were there hanging out with her, which is scary because, you don't know where you're going sometimes. If you have friends and they're more or less walking into the
Twilight
battle zone,
Yeah.
So any and everybody out there, it's my sister for sure. 100%. I will always be looking for her. But the intensity of how many people, like you said, there's so many,
Yes.
but there is an extreme amount in such a small area. And the more knowledge is out there, the more possibilities we have of saving multiple people. And
Exactly.
that's
The nu-
important.
The numbers last year, Abby, was what, 63 missing people just last year? Is that correct?
No, I thought it was more than that. I don't have the paper on me. I know once they started, they tried to make me feel like I was stupid. I took this list and
I know
literally
exactly what list you're talking about.
every single individual.
Mhm.
We did an awareness event and tried to ask Lake County for help. I was told that if we do this quick get-together event there, that I would have my own legal problems. So I had to kind of switch some of that stuff up. And we did meet with the prosecutor of Lake County. Lorenzo was there for that. And none of us have gotten a call back.
Nope.
I know he is a very busy man. I do appreciate him taking the time out to talk to all of us so he could be aware that what was going on. He did say that it was crazy that no warrants at all were issued for any of these cases. Did he or did he not, Lorenzo?
Correct.
So with that being said, it makes you wonder, what is it that everyone's telling us? Because if that is the prosecutor who explained that the way it works is the police do their investigation or their job, they turn around. If they're having problems, they come to the prosecuting attorney, and that attorney will give them what they need to succeed from the warrants and all of these things. Well, he said for these cases, none of that has been brought to him for any of the missing people. So now which officers lying to us? Because they told us they had a warrant to search the dump. They told us they had a warrant for specific things. And who do I call when you've called everybody and you have the person in charge of giving the warrant saying that none were out, and you have officers telling us to our face that they have these warrants? So who's making the falsified documents is my question. I don't know.
Right.
So it's just, I could see if my sister ran away from the place because they clearly don't got their crap together. But at this point, I know she wouldn't just leave her kids.
No.
She wouldn't do it. So please just keep sharing.
Absolutely. Like I said, I see her flyer come across my Facebook feed. It's gonna start going through Facebook quite a bit more because, like you said, I'm pushing it out to more groups. We're gonna get it out on Shorts and on TikTok too, as long as TikTok's here. So we'll definitely get it flooded out there.
Awesome. Thank you. I really do appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I always say, our first encounter is never our last. There will be more. We'll help in any way we can. So if at any time you guys have an event to bring awareness, let me know. I will put it out there. And because I do have a large audience from Indiana, even though I'm from Wisconsin, most of my audience is from Indiana. So I will get it out to the Indiana peeps and get you support in any of the events or whatever you need help with.
I know we were going to plan another awareness event to help kind of keep pushing all of the faces. You know, like I said, there's a lot from a small area. So we are trying to get the date set up and make sure that we do what we need to do. And we will let you know for sure. And maybe you could come. Like, honestly, like,
Yeah,
come out. Like, everybody is, you know, in this together. We just want it to be facts. That is all I'm asking. If it's not a fact that comes out of one of the like family members' life, like mouth, then don't just believe it. And you know, all these people deserve to be found. I would like to know that this baby is safe and in the right hands, or you know,
And what they name the baby, you know, what's the baby's
yes.
name?
Yes. If it's a boy, if it's a girl,
right. What's the baby's name?
Like, your aunt is trying to get some Christmas presents, you know what I mean? I will, even I've made it a statement here, like, I will give my sister anything she wants almost at this point. Like, I will go get a loan from the bank to see her physical face.
Right.
We are worried.
Right.
So.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me, Abby.
Thank you,
Lorenzo. I appreciate it. Lorenzo, I think we're going to work together probably on some of the other cases out of that area. I would like to get, because like you said, there's so many people missing from a small area. And I'm going to start covering more missing cases besides the core cases that I'm covering for unsolved murders. So do a lot more missing and those. So I would love to work with you more on some of the people, a lot of the people from that area. And
just last week we went out just to resurface Diamond and King, you know, from back in 2014. We went back to where it all started off and just trying to figure things out. So again, all these people, they will not go just void. We will keep their names and stories alive. So we thank you for sharing on your platform, and we're looking forward to helping each other out.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will if you want to go behind the scenes here in the backstage, I'm just going to end it and then we can chat a little bit more.
Okay. Is there coffee back there?
I wish. Virtual.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate you and have a good night.
Yeah, to all of our supporters out there, we thank you for watching with us and Marv. And please like, share, comment below, and everyone be safe. Good night.
Thank you. All right, everybody. I'm going to show you these pictures of Emma again. I will put these on the Facebook page, the group page, and the actual page, and in Discord so that you can share them. And I will make sure that the missing flyer is there. I encourage everyone to please share this out. We need to pepper this poster and these pictures to everybody in and around Gary, Indiana. Somebody knows something as to what happened to Emma. And we have been putting a number down here. I'm just going to find it again. The number to call with any tips to the Gary Police Department is 219-881-1300. If you don't want to call the police department and you have a tip, contact me. I will be glad to pass the tip on for you if you don't want to do it yourself. So with that note, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to those that are on the replay crew and will be rewatching this when you have time. Spread this out. I'll be putting it on the community page right after this, so that you can be sharing that with everybody you know. Remember, justice matters, but lives matter too. Have a good night. Bye.